What's up, guys? I want to talk to you about a subject that's been coming up, not too much, and not a lot of you bring it up, but every once in a while on my comments, I get some guys coming on trying to discredit what I'm saying about diet and training and saying, well, what about the PEDs? What about the anabolic substances? That's where it's at. And I don't want any of you guys to ever think that I'm bullshitting you or lying to you about any subject. I've never lied or fabricated anything. I've always been very transparent. The fact of the matter is, if that's the subject you guys want to hear about and you want to hear details about that stuff, this page is not for you. This channel is not for you. There's a lot of bodybuilders, competitive and non-competitive, on social media, on YouTube, that are very famous, and that's how they branded themselves. That's what they talk about. Fact of the matter is, that's not the most important thing. You cannot be a massive, gigantic freak, 260 pounds, diced to the socks naturally. If anyone thinks that's possible, you need to take a step back, reevaluate the human body, and do some reading. If anyone's telling you that's possible naturally, they're lying to you. I've never lied to you guys. I've always been honest about my journey, my path. That's what this channel is about. I started bodybuilding, and when I say bodybuilding, I'm not talking about competitive. I mean just bodybuilding, living that lifestyle, eating 6 meals a day, training 6 days a week, drinking a gallon of water. I started at like 14, 15 years old. I started going to the high school gym at 13, really training and playing with weights 14. By 16, I had already played football for a year. I was taking creatine, training 6 days a week. I did chest, tri, back, bi, shoulders, legs, chest, tri, back, bi, shoulders, legs, Sundays off. Definitely made a lot of mistakes, definitely overtrained. I dieted a couple times a year. I dieted for vacation, I dieted for the summer. This started for me at 16. I'm 36. You guys don't want to believe this shit? No problem. Don't believe it. Move on. This is what my channel is about. Genetic ceiling, someone mentioned genetic ceiling. There are genetic ceilings, of course. You cannot just keep growing just because you train hard and you eat well. There's a limit that you hit. At 33 years old, after 20 years of dieting and training, and granted, I don't expect a lot of you guys to do that. That's abnormal for someone to do that for so many years and not really be satisfied. I always wanted more. I don't mean to go off on tangents, but I really want to express this to you guys because, it kind of frustrates me sometimes when I see these comments. This is me. This is who I am. I'm telling you guys how I got to where I got. I looked up to the bodybuilders in the 90s, okay? So that look is not obtainable naturally. So I was never happy. I was 100% natural. I trained my ass off. I'm talking about, guys, I was OCD. I used to overthink everything. I was more meticulous with eating on the dot every 3 hours than I am now as a pro. I'm a lot more lenient and easygoing. Also, I have a weight cap and I can't be like 250 pounds. So one thing I want to talk about PEDs and anabolic substances, we all know what's capable natural and what you need to do to get to a certain level depending on who you aspire to look like. But I'd say 99% of you guys out there, of everybody in the gym, doesn't hit their genetic ceiling. It took me 20 years. I turned pro in 2014, 100% natural. In men's physique, which is possible. You want to believe it, believe it. You don't want to believe it, I don't care. I don't benefit from anyone believing that or not believing it. It makes no difference. I competed in a non-tested organization, so it's not like I was lying about it and they were testing me and I was saying I was natural. I mean, I don't even think it was that impressive. People would always be like, oh, he's got to be on something just because they don't work hard or train hard. Look, how good your genetics are dictates how good you're going to be compared to the rest of the world. But regardless if you have shit genetics, mediocre genetics, or amazing genetics, you can be the best you. So if you diet correctly, and I don't mean just low calorie, I mean eating good foods, eating the right foods, whether you're doing macros or I don't give a shit, clean food, dirty food, everyone's got their own, their own opinion on that, okay? I eat very meticulous, I'm very OCD with my food, but that's me. As long as you're eating and training hard, you're gonna progress. Even if you don't have the genetics to be a pro, even if you don't have the genetics to win shows overall and do great, you can still be the best you, the leanest, the biggest you. And for me, it took me 20 years to become the best me. And was that my genetic cap? Look, I wasn't gonna become 230 pounds ripped from, I was about like 195 when I turned pro in men's physique. But I could have kept progressing every year till 40, 50 years old. It would have been very little and very slow. So I'm not hiding any aspect from you guys. I've told you guys everything honestly about my journey, what I did, how I did it. But the fact of the matter is, you guys that keep bringing that topic up, go eat 6, 7 meals a day and go train 5 to 6 days a week for 10 years and then come and comment. You will get results. You will get better. I was so meticulous. When I worked and went to school, I used to go to the gym at midnight. I'd take my pre-workout at 11. I would go to the gym at 12 o'clock at night and I would train. I idolized Dorian Yates. I idolized Kevin Levrone. I lifted very, very heavy. And I got to be honest with you guys, I don't have a very big bone structure genetically. I'm not one of those like stocky, really, really strong guys. I couldn't bench 135 freshman year of high school. I'm not genetically strong. I have good genetics. I have good shape. I have good muscle bellies, I think, and symmetry. But I'm not the most genetically gifted guy on earth. I see a lot of my clients, a lot of young guys in the gym, 1 or 2 years, and I'm like, oh my God, these guys look incredible. I looked good, but I didn't look incredible after a year or two. Like, it took me 10 years to like, people would look at me and be like, oh wow, that guy's got a good amount of muscle on him. Then it took me another 10 years, a whole 20 years to be at almost my genetic cap. So yes, it frustrates me when people want to put PEDs and anabolic substances ahead of diet and training. I have a lot of knowledge from experience, but what you guys don't understand is I understand your bodies too, because I've coached so many clients, bodybuilding and just regular guys trying to get into shape. I gotta tell you guys, the guys that come to me on anabolics, they're always running too much and they always look bad. I always end up changing their protocols, making them healthier, and they get better results. So if you guys go online, whoever is sharing their stuff, and you follow some dude that's 10, 15 years older than you, has been on gear for a long time, if you take 1 Tylenol for a headache and it works, why take 3? But if you're taking 2, 3 Tylenol, your receptors get clogged. You need more and more and more. So you guys are looking at these guys that have been clogging their receptors, that are already so big and have been doing XYZ for so many years, and you're gonna mimic them. You're going to damage your health. You're going to hurt yourself. And if you're taking advice, drug advice, and something so serious from people on social media or on YouTube, you need to reevaluate the way you're going about your life in general. I mean, that's not smart, man. Do your own research. Do your own research. Go to a doctor. Figure out, get blood work done. Like, be healthy. Like, yes, I want to look good, but at what cost? I like to consider myself as a healthy individual. I try to cover all the bases and do everything that I do in a manner that is going to allow me to do this for a longer time and longevity. I don't want to just look like a freak in my 30s and then be walking hunched over with bad health in my 40s and 50s. The fact of the matter is, I have all types of, I hate to use the word fans, I have all types of friends out there. A lot of people follow me on this channel and on Instagram, all types of people. I talk to a lot of you guys, different ages, but the vast majority are young guys. And you know what? Ignorance sometimes is bliss. Let me explain something to you guys. When I started, who did I idolize? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and Hulk Hogan. Okay? All 3 of those guys were using anabolics. I did not know. Okay? They lied to me, they hid it, whatever the case may be. Did I get bitter? Did I complain about it? No. I trained my ass off. I mimicked a lot of stuff they did. I ate egg whites, I ate chicken, I listened to them. Hulk Hogan would tell you, eat raw egg whites and all that stuff. And I worked my ass off. 8 years, 10 years went by, and I was like, well, I'm working pretty hard, but I don't look like these guys. What harm was done there? No harm done. I worked hard. I built a base. I learned so much. So, ignorance to some degree is bliss. You young guys should not know anything about that stuff. You should not be thinking about that stuff. It shouldn't even be a question. People want to just use that as an excuse. No problem. Keep doing that. Keep hating on the guys that are living their lives and reaching their goals, whether they're natural or not. And you're never going to reach your goal. The thing is, by you saying that this is not possible unless you do XYZ, you're limiting yourself. If you don't believe that's possible, then you're not gonna get very far. I knew what was possible naturally. I knew that I could not look like Kevin Levrone, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman. I literally idolized and mimicked them. I used to eat grits because Ronnie ate grits. I used to lift like them. I used to eat like them. And I ate so much at one point after watching Ronnie's videos that I put on a lot of body fat. I was natural. I looked like crap. And I cut down. I learned. What I tell you guys is what I've read and learned from others. I'm not the first person to do these things. And my experience. I did the dirty bulks. I did the, not even dirty, just the high calorie. And I got stronger and I got bigger, but I also got really bloated and fat. I got stretch marks from it. And the higher body fat you get, it's not healthy. You don't feel good. Your energy levels go to shit. And also you have to diet a lot longer to lose that extra body fat. And the longer you diet, the more muscle you lose. So I'm just sharing my journey with you guys. I've never bullshitted any of you. I've never lied in my videos. If I tell you I use a product, I use that product. You want to believe me, believe me. You don't want to believe me, it's to your benefit to believe me, because you're going to practice and work hard and try. But if you, and use the things that I tell you, but if you don't believe me and you think there's so many hidden secrets that I'm not telling you guys, and you keep that in your mind's eye and you keep that in your head, then you're gonna just be like, well, there's no reason for me to push harder in the gym. I'll never amount to anything. I'll never get to that level. There's no reason for me to do cardio harder. No problem. Keep doing that. You guys will not be the ones that reach your maximum potential. I'm not saying if you eat the protein that I eat and you eat the carbs that I eat, that you're going to look like me in 2 weeks. You're going to look like me in 2 years. I didn't look like me now for 20 years. You know what I mean? But I pushed myself very, very hard. And you know what? What I did might be abnormal. Being unhappy with your physique, always looking at yourself and be like, I'm not big enough, I'm not lean enough, I'm not hard enough, and staying natural. That's what I did. You want to get into detail about why, how, I've told you guys a story about my life, I've told you what I've done. That's what I did. Not everybody does that, but I cannot tell you guys what to do. I cannot tell you guys what this guy does and that guy does. This men's physique pro, this bodybuilding pro, men's open, 212. Everyone's got a different story. Some guys have better genetics. Some guys are older. Some guys are younger. I compete against guys 10 years younger than me and 10 years older than me. Bro, everything is different, Like somebody, people come on here and asking me these outrageous questions. It's hard work and diet will trump everything and anything. Genetics is the most important thing, but I have a lot of guys that have amazing genetics. When I say I have a lot of guys, I mean clients. They have amazing genetics, but they don't have the mindset of a champion. They don't have the mental toughness to push. So that guy might win a couple shows. Guy might look good every day of life at the beach, but he's not gonna reach his, I don't care how successful he gets at competing, he's not gonna reach his best. I have a lot of clients that do really well and even turn pro, and I do not consider them the genetic elite. They just work really hard. A great example is Jay Cutler. Great genetics, don't get me wrong, but he was not the most genetically gifted or craziest shape Mr. Olympia we ever had. But Jay had something that I would say 80% of bodybuilders don't have. He had the mindset of a champion. The guy was a beast. He just trained his ass off and he really, really pushed hard. And there's a lot of other bodybuilders today and in the past that I believe have the potential to be top 3 or even Mr. Olympia, but they didn't have the mental toughness. Guys, this is a mental sport. Everything in life, work, relationships, it's more mental than anything else. And bodybuilding, yes, diet, yes, supplements, yes, training, yes, genetics. But if you don't have the mentality, if you don't have the strong mind, it'll crumble. And then what happens is you point fingers at guys like me and other guys that have gotten to where they are and just say, oh, well, your ego won't allow you to think that I'm not doing some outrageous shit like fucking, I don't know, drinking elephant semen or something, You think that I have this crazy secret that I'm not sharing with you guys. Whatever, keep thinking that. I really hope a lot of you guys reach your goals. I know what it feels like to reach a goal and feel good about yourself. And I want you guys to experience that. And all I'm trying to do is close the gap for you guys. If you learn from my mistakes, if I tell you what I did wrong 15, 20 years ago, then maybe I save you a year. Maybe I save you 5 years of doing some shit that is not good, that you can hurt yourself or you're not gonna grow. That's what my channel is about. If you want something else, or if you think you're not getting what you want, that's cool. There's a lot of other channels. That's what my channel is about. I'm not gonna cover this topic again. I'm not gonna bring it up. It is not the end all be all. I'm telling you guys, you need to work hard. You need to be on top of your diet as far as growing to your maximum potential and as far as getting as lean as possible. You know what? How about this? Go to a natural bodybuilding show and look at their conditioning. I'll go as far as saying the natural bodybuilders have even better conditioning than bodybuilders that are on anabolics. Obviously, naturally, you cannot get as big. But there's a lot of beautiful natural bodybuilders out there with amazing symmetry, great muscularity. They're not 250, but they look very big and very round for their weight and their frames, and shredded. It's easier, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, to get very low in body fat and very dry when you're natural. So stop making excuses for yourselves. If a lot of guys, their egos won't allow them. If they're training, let's say, X amount, they're eating X amount, and they're taking all these supplements or drugs, and then there's a guy next to them that's maybe training less, taking no supplements, no drugs, eating less, or whatever the case may be, doing, not as much, and he looks better than you, your ego won't allow you to believe that. Because what does that say about you? That guy's that much better than you? So you're gonna say, well, if I'm taking these supplements or these drugs, and I just look like this, and this guy blows me away, then he's gotta be on XYZ. That's the mentality that so many of you guys have in this industry. And it's wrong, and it sucks. It's a bad mentality. It's not a good mentality. If anything, especially you young guys, you should just assume everybody's natural. You'll work harder to try to catch that. And you won't, right? Because you can't be Ronnie Coleman naturally. What harm has been done? For me, no harm. Arnold, Hulk Hogan, Sylvester Stallone, I did not know what they were doing or what they were taking till I got older. And what happened? I built an amazing base. I learned so much. I used to go online and read. We didn't have social media. We didn't have YouTube. I wasn't able to go and ask Dorian Yates and Kevin Levrone questions and have them reply like you guys are asking me. I'm not saying I'm Dorian Yates and Kevin, but it was a different time. I had to dig for information. And now that boatload, 20 years of information I'm trying to share with you guys so you learn. But a lot of you want to keep making excuses. So keep making your excuses and you're just not going to get to what you want to be. You're not going to get to where you want to get. So just hard work and time. Another thing is patience is a virtue, man. Like I consider myself very patient in a lot of aspects of my life. I'm speedy, I just want to get to the point. But with bodybuilding, shit, man, I've done the same thing day in, day out for so many years. That's the definition of patience. I waited a long time. I did enjoy the process and I did progress, but I didn't just wake up like, holy shit. I didn't just wake up jacked. I didn't wake up the way I look now, what you guys are seeing. It took me 23 years because I started with lifting weights at 13, full blown at 16, 6 meals a day, training 6 days a week. I used to carry a gallon of water around high school. People used to look at me funny. So 23 years. And, about 17, 18 till I really started looking like, oh, wow, that guy's, great shape. And in clothes, I didn't look like anything incredible when I was a $190 shredded. I didn't look huge in clothes, but when I took off my clothes, I looked big. It was all an illusion, and it's all a matter of how much you put in and how much it means to you. So just think about that, guys, before you ask me these silly questions and before you make assumptions about me or any other athlete. I've always been open with you guys. I've always told you guys my journey, but it can get aggravating, some of the conversations, the questions, and the things that are posted below. So I just want to make this one video to clarify everything and kind of give you guys an idea, a feeling of how I feel and what I think about these topics and about addressing these things.